time has come. Tra-la-la! Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place for those who live, talk, and buy movies. If you're looking to find one of those categories, hit that subscribe button down below. But, yeah, if you've been following the channel for the last couple of years or so, you've probably noticed I've done reviews of every season of the epic tales of Captain Underpants, the show on Netflix. And, well, that all started back in summer of 2018 when I discovered they were making a Netflix show of Captain Underpants based on the movie. And I kind of just did a review on it just for the whim, because I grew up with the books, I love the movies, so I figured it'd be kind of fun. And, weirdly enough, it kind of blew up as far as, like the scale of this channel is concerned. So every single time a new season or special is dropped, I've done a video on it, but there's one piece of Captain Underpants content I've held off on doing a review of up until now, and that would be Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, the DreamWorks animated movie that, deserves a lot more love and praise, but the freaking boss baby keeps getting all of that. If you remember my first couple reviews for seasons 1 and 2 of the epic tales of Captain Underpants, then you've heard me talk about how the show really reminds me of the books very much and brings me back to my childhood. Well, all those feelings started out with the movie, because when I first went to the theater in 2017 to see it, and that opening comic book animation talking about Underpanty World and the tra-la-las and the it's a bird, it's a plane, it's an egg salad sandwich, all that stuff from the books that I remember from my childhood just came swarming back to me all at once. It gave me this overwhelmingly large smile on my face when I first saw it. And this movie's actually chock full of all that kind of stuff, especially in that one scene in the mall where every single store is labeled after something from the books. That's just really, really cool. But you know what? All the fan service aside, what else does this movie have to offer? Because a movie is not simply good just because it pays tribute to its source material or does all kinds of callbacks. How does the movie itself turn out? Well, pretty good if I do say so myself. Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch play George and Harold in this movie. Now, of course, they don't really sound like 8-year-old kids whatsoever, but that's just kind of how it goes with a lot of major animated movies nowadays. They want to have those big names up in that cast to drag people in. But this movie does the smart thing of hiring actors with a comedic background to play these characters, because that way they can pull off the jokes better, they can react to things better, and they really just immerse you into the world of this ridiculous realm of poop jokes and potty humor and all of that fun stuff. And the whole cast is like that as well, including Ed Helms as Mr. Krupp, aka Captain Underpants. So I think these three actors make these characters come to life very well. Of course, none of them came back for the Netflix show because they probably cost way too much money to keep them on board. And I do honestly think that the voice actors in the show pull off the roles a little bit better, mostly because, George and Harold, they sound like actual kids because they are kids in the show. But as far as a feature film goes, I think these were the perfect choices for these characters. The movie also features other elements from the books, like the Turbo Toilet 2000. In the books, he's more of like an evil leader of these other smaller toilets that run around going yum yum, eat them up and, eat people up and stuff. And in the movie, it's more of a giant robot that Professor Poopy Pants builds in order to suck out everyone's sense of humor because he thinks laughter is terrible. So the Turbo Toilet 2000 is not quite as interesting as he was in the books, but also it is a giant toilet monster after all, so I think they did a decent job of adapting that character into this movie because they weren't just trying to directly adapt one book, they were taking elements from pretty much all of them and cramming them into this movie. And something I thought they translated very well from the books into the movie was the use of the fliporama. For those of you who are unaware, the fliporama in the books is basically this two-sided paper where if you flip it back and forth, it looks like, Captain Underpants is getting beat up or he's punching the bad guy or something. It's a really fun, quirky part of the books, and I think they took that idea and translated it into the movie very, very well, because throughout the movie, George and Harold break the fourth wall a lot, talking directly to the audience, saying, hey, school sucks, we make comic books, ha 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 ha. So when the eventual final battle comes in, they stop, break the fourth wall, and like, hey, we don't have the budget for this, so we're just gonna do the fliporama. And I thought that was just super hilarious, and it made me smile so hard when I saw it the first time. Especially the moment when Harold accidentally tears the page when doing the fliporama. That brought back some traumatic moments from my childhood because, I definitely tore those pages a couple of times, I'm not gonna lie. And when it comes to adapting something like the Captain Underpants books into a feature film, there's a lot of questions about how you're going to translate the material properly, because the books are not really about story arcs and emotional impact and things like that. They're basically just like these mini epic novels that are kind of like episodes of a cartoon show with some continuing storylines and things like that. But here the movie, gives these characters story arcs. They try to add some emotional impact into it, which I do think in the movie it does work out fine, giving Principal Krupp some sort of story arc, so he goes from being a strict a-hole to being a slightly less strict a-hole by the end of it, starting to have some sort of happiness in there, which these are elements that are necessary to pull off a good narrative story in a feature film like this, which I really can't fault the movie for at all, because when it comes to adapting any book into a movie, you can't just directly adapt the source material, you have to change things up so it would work in a visual format like that. But as far as translating the source material into a more visual medium like this, I do think the Netflix show does a better job at that, because it's a series of, one-off episodes and, fun humor. No one really changes by the end of it. But don't take that statement the wrong way. I enjoyed this movie so much, even 3 years later. It brought me back to my childhood the first time I saw it, and I just still get to enjoy it more and more each time I watch it. It's fun to see this 3D animated version of this book that I never thought in a million years I'd see any kind of movie or TV show adaptation of. But before I give you my final thoughts on this movie, I am going to be doing a review of the Captain Underpants holiday special come Friday, so make sure you come back for that. I'll leave a link to it up here somewhere when that video is finally in existence. But anyway, let's wrap things up here. So overall, Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, is a wonderful translation of the source material into a feature film. It's got some great fan service in there, some wonderful humor, and it doesn't take itself too seriously either. And not to mention the Blu-ray for this movie is where you could get one of these super snazzy Captain Underpants capes that I wear in all my reviews. So if you could find yourself a copy that still carries the cape, definitely go pick that up. But overall, as far as this movie is concerned, I'm gonna give it a gold unboxing machete. So if you want to see some more videos from me like this, you can check out this playlist right over here. And if you want to see what YouTube recommends you watch me next, you can check out that video right down there. And of course, subscribe if you live talking by movies. And we'll see you on the Tralala side.